Welcome back to the Roadside Rescue YouTube channel. I'm Ernest, and we've got a special video today. We're going to do a day in the life of a mobile mechanic. So I started my own mobile mechanic business about 2 years ago. I bought this here UPS truck, which everybody throws a fit about. I call it the UPS truck because it's easier than saying USPS. It's not brown. UPS doesn't sell their trucks. It's the same exact truck anyway. So yeah, here's the UPS truck. I just call it what I want. It's my nickname for it, so it's not the official term. I've got my toolboxes back here. It's pretty messy from this week. We are on Thursday now, and we've got a pretty busy day. So what we're gonna do today is kind of follow along how my day normally goes. I've seen some day in the life of videos where people start out, you know, like in the shower, getting ready and all that. Wait for this car to pass. You know, like getting ready in the morning. I'm not too big of a fan of that stuff. My wife's 8 months pregnant, so we're not, in being self-employed, we're not usually in the, you know, a rush. I don't have a certain schedule to stick by, so I just kind of tell people when I want to work, here's my schedule, this. So I base my schedule off when I want to work. It's 9:12 right now in the morning. I've been up for about an hour and a half, 2 hours almost, with our 2-year-old, and my wife is resting. We take turns. So I just got ready. You know, I shower at night because if I come home greasy and dirty, I can wash my hands, but I don't want to lay in bed being nasty. So I shower at night, so it's not like I get up and have this routine. I just get up when our kid gets up. We take turns. So I got ready. My wife's up now with him, and I'm going to be busy pretty much all day. Some days I'll just do 1 or 2 jobs depending on how I feel, but everything's just kind of lined up today to have a busy day. So that's why we're doing this follow through. So just to go over today's schedule, we are going to run up to a town about 15 minutes away, the city just north of us, and we're going to do an alternator on a Jeep for a buddy of mine. As we go through the day, I'll kind of talk about how much I'm making as well. It might not be exact numbers, but you know, enough to give you an idea of you know, what this is doing for us. After we do that, we're going to go up to a town 20 minutes north of there, so about half an hour from here, and I'm going to do front rotors and brake pads. I'm going to do a rebuild kit on a power steering pump, and I'm going to do these hood lifts because the hood falls down if you don't put a stick under there. So get that on there for this gentleman. In a town 5 minutes east of that, heading back towards home, we're going to do another alternator on a Nissan Quest. This lady had been ripped off already by another mobile mechanic, and everybody's over quoting her, and she finally got a hold of us. I guess somebody recommended her because she had my personal number, and you know, we gave her an awesome quote, and we're going to do that alternator for her. It's been diagnosed by like 3 other people, but we'll double check it as well. And I just got a call this morning to finish out the day. It's going to make the day long, so if I get another call for jobs today, they're going to have to get put off till tomorrow unless one's an emergency, where I charge an extra emergency fee for to make it worth my while. This gentleman has a 1991 Ford Ranger, just like my 94 Ford Ranger. It's got the 6-cylinder, but he says it's a 2.9 liter, whereas mine's a 4 liter, so it should be more accessible to work on than my engine. He was trying to do the valve covers himself and stripped out some of the bolts holding that valve cover on once he started putting the first one back on. Probably over tightening them, so we're gonna finish out that job for him, and we'll talk about that when we get there. It's gonna be a long day. You might see some repeat videos if you subscribe to the channel. We're gonna be doing individual videos on each one of these jobs, so we'll have plenty of videos coming out from today. But this is it. This is my workshop. We'll head on the road, and like I said, we've got a pretty busy day, so come along. Okay, here we are, Roadside Rescue, first job of the day. We've got this Jeep Patriot here with a bad alternator. These are pretty tricky. Everybody has a different way of pulling them out, but I like to come out through here, so I'll just remove these reservoirs here, which are easy to pull out of the way, and then we'll jack the engine up. So we'll just undo the engine mount on this side, and it comes up out of this space with just enough room. At least it did on the last one. So here we go. We'll get set up and get her out. All right, so here we are. Here's the alternator coming out of this hole. Took a bit of prying gently with that pry bar and just wiggling, and it's just as hard as the last one. I remember I thought I could do it faster because the last one I had figured it out, but it took probably just as much time. It's probably been about 50 minutes to get this out. Hopefully it'll go back in, everything together in about 30, but there's no guarantees with it just being this tricky. So I don't know, I've never done one out the bottom, but I know you got to remove a bracket and the AC compressor and stuff. So I've just done both of the ones I've ever done this way, and so far it's worked, but we'll go ahead and get this pulled out and get the new one put in. There it is. I like to just put the new one straight in so I don't forget how it went, but it doesn't mean it's going to work perfectly like you expect, but all right, that's in. That was like 8 minutes already. So we'll get that cable put on the back and its connector, and then it should all go back together pretty fast. All right, so we got that alternator in. The new part is with our friend here. He has to take it back to the place that gave him the alternator 2 years ago and get that refunded. We got a nice tip, literally a tri-tip stake, so that was a little bonus. This nice guy just gave us a big old steak as a tip, so that's pretty cool. We're gonna head up now to that other town about 20 minutes away, do those brakes and that rebuild kit on that power steering pump. Probably gonna be a little messy, so we'll end up probably working in the hot street so we're not messing up their garage. After that, we've got that other alternator and then the valve cover gasket, so we'll get up there and get going on the next one. All right, so here we are. We just got up to that town about 20 minutes away. Might get a little messy, so here we are on the side of the road. Here's the car. We're gonna put, again, new brake rotors and pads on this one. Doesn't get the alternator. These little hood lifts, so the hood stays up, and then there it is, the power steering pump seal kit. So we're gonna rebuild the seals in that power steering pump, which I believe in another video I had recently put out, I just diagnosed that. This one may come out first, I'm not sure, but we did come over here and diagnose it the other day. And earlier we had put the high pressure hose on, which was also leaking, but he said it's still leaking, so we came back and verified that this pump itself was also leaking. Interestingly enough, they usually sell them as kits online, I learned, so I don't usually buy my parts online. Again, I buy mostly AutoZone parts, but it was interesting to know that both of those typically have issues at the same time. So here we are. We'll pop this open and get the hood lifts on first. That way we don't have to keep fighting that hood open. We have some light under there while we're working. We'll get to it. Here we are, Roadside Rescue. This is the one that's not an emergency today, but the other three are. So we'll start with these hood lifts. All right, 3 minutes. Oh, I forgot to say the time. It's about noon now. Probably about 12:30 since we got up here. So the other job was a couple hours, 2 or 3 hours. Probably about 2. It's nice and breezy up here. So the high today was like 97. I'm dyslexic. And so, you know, back there it was really hot. I was in the sun for just a few moments. Out here, I'm in the sun. It's still gonna be warm, but with this breeze blowing, I don't know if you can tell. I have to like keep everything, you know, underneath something because it's all blowing away. So the breeze is going to be awesome. That's super simple. I'm not even charging labor for those. I'm just selling them those little hood lifts to, you know, they're good friends anyway, so I have no problem doing that. I don't know why I said that. Anyways, we'll go ahead. We're just going to go ahead and start with this tire. Pick it up, take it off. We're going to get that rotor off so we have the most access possible to that power steering pump, and then we'll get that torn out, built back up with the seals, and then put back in before we do the rotors and pads, and then we'll move on to the other side. So we'll go ahead and jack her up and get under there. Now, as far as food goes, I typically have a couple of cases of water in the truck, but I'm kind of more for just eating one big meal a day. I like the idea of eating 5 small meals a day, but I usually just end up eating one because I'm busy. Right out here, I'm on my own clock, so the faster I get done, I get paid the same, the faster I get to go home. So I typically don't stop for lunch. If I'm starving or like shaky, then I will, but so far I'm just a little hungry. This is about the time I get hungry anyways in the day, but I doubt I'll stop to eat anywhere, but I'm drinking lots of water. And the last guy we did the job for gave me a big old cold Powerade, so that was nice. Okay, let's bub up and do it. That's usually a good sign that it's worked. So okay, I'm trying not to touch the camera too much, but I just got it out, and this is what I look like. So nothing too new for people who know stuff about working on cars, but obviously power steering stuff just gets so dirty. I'm just going to throw those gloves away. I will reuse gloves a lot, but not this time. I'm going to wipe up, and I'll get the camera wiped down because I did have to touch the edges, and I'll show you what it looks like under there. But I haven't been able to touch the camera much, set anything up, because that's just been so dirty. So. Okay, so here we are. It's just hanging right there. It's going to come right out of this hole. There's like that little bracket for it, and a couple other little pieces that came out of it, but most stuff, I mean, there wasn't much, but most little things, well, they didn't even stay in there. There's a few things in there, there's a few things out here, but not too much to get it out. So we'll get it out now, tear it down, and rebuild this pump. All right, here's our pump, mostly cleaned off. As you can see, our nice breeze is blowing stuff around. Here's our seal kit, so it's got quite a few seals in here. I don't know if we're gonna replace all of them. Okay, since I know it's not leaking out of the front, I'm not too worried about redoing the main seal on the front of this. So we should be good to go. Now I'll get it sprayed down one more time to clean it, and we'll put it back in. I'm gonna wipe everything down in that car too, because it's just, putting my hand up there is getting disgustingly greasy. So here we go. All right, here we are. We just got that power steering pump in. So it's up there, plugged in. I'm gonna do the brakes right now. So I've gone ahead and filled up this power steering reservoir. And while I do those brakes, I'm gonna let that fluid seep down into there. That way at least as much as possible gets in before we start it. Then obviously we'll have to bleed it, but this vehicle bleeds pretty easy. It's not like a Ford or anything like that with their weird design. So we'll go ahead and throw these brakes on, and then we'll be done on this job, so it shouldn't be too much longer. car, we've got this power steering fluid circulating. It's not whining. It's working perfect. And we've got those new brakes on, so we're gonna pump them and then take this car up to its home right here. All right, so this is a job well done. We'll head on to the next one. We've got that alternator and then those valve covers left to do. So we'll get this car back to its owner and get on the way. All right, here we are, Roadside Rescue. So this is the third job of the day. Still not very hungry, but we're gonna go ahead and do this alternator on this Nissan Quest. We're just double checking everything now and it's right there. Apparently it's gotta come out the top, so we're gonna remove this radiator, which I guess I wasn't aware of until now. But that's fine, I've got everything I need, so we'll drain out this coolant into our clean coolant jug and just reuse that because that stuff's expensive. We'll remove this radiator and then there's plenty of room for that alternator to come out here out front, so we'll go ahead and get started. It's always interesting whenever you work on something like this, since you could tell somebody's already done it before because everything's just a little broken. For example, all these little retaining clips for the wire harness are broken, and this radiator, whatever you call that nozzle, is broken. So all we've got to do is undo that lower hose. I'm just waiting on it to finish dripping out, and then we've got those two transmission cooler lines, and this is going to pop straight out the top fast here, and then we'll just start yanking that alternator out. But I'm gonna go ahead and unhook this battery while I finish waiting on that to drip out. Okay, so here we are. I just got all those lines undone on the radiator. It's been about 10 minutes since I started, and it's ready to come up out of here. I'm gonna have to use two hands though, so I'm gonna set this camera down. Okay, now we've got plenty of room. Let's get that alternator out. All right, so I was just fighting with that bottom bolt for a bit, but I got it out with just a really, well, it's one of those serpentine belt tools, so it's like super thin, and it had been stripped out previously, and so I was just trying to be super careful, but I got it out. That's the only wire we need to watch out for. I'm gonna go ahead and pull it off the AC compressor, that sensor, and then we'll pull this 𝐿𝐷 out. Okay, there she is, our intermittent alternator. Okay, so I just got done with that alternator. I'll update you at the gas station. I've got to stop and get some fuel here in a moment, so we'll head over there. They've just been outside, so it was hard to film that job of ice cream, so I'll update you here in a second. So they were just outside most of the time, and I couldn't really get a lot of good footage or filming just because I didn't want to make them feel awkward, so I just kind of threw the camera up there. But yeah, it went pretty smooth, nothing weird except for that one little stripped out nut. But other than that, it all went good. All right, so we got to get fuel. We just pulled up to the gas station. I'll probably use close to half a tank of diesel with all this driving today, which is about 20 gallons. Maybe I'll probably have used 7 gallons. So not too bad. So far with those three jobs, I think I've made at least $500, which is good. But you know, $50 back in fuel, and then insurance, tax, and all that stuff. So it's not, you know, what I put in the bank, but I guess what they say gross income. So not too bad. We're gonna go ahead and fill up with fuel. We'll put a nice little dent in our pocket, and then we'll head on to this last job and do those valve covers. It's getting pretty late. Still not hungry, but I've drank probably 8 bottles of water today. So the breeze is nice out on this side of the lake. It's been nice and cool, relatively speaking. I haven't been sweating to death. It's warm, but it could be a lot hotter. So here we go. Get some fuel and then head down to do those valve covers. This is what the truck looks like after working all day. I'll try and organize it all when I get home. I might be tired and I might just do it in the morning since tomorrow's not a very busy day. And before I drive, I always have to check, make sure both toolboxes are locked, because I don't want them falling over. If these doors pop open, they'll fall over by themselves. You don't even have to do anything. So that's the one thing I always do before I start the truck. I just come back here and I check, make sure these toolboxes are locked, and I just leave the key up here. So the truck's secure, it locks up nice, so I'm not worried about leaving keys on top of the toolbox. But just to keep those drawers from opening up is a big deal. Okay, so here we are on the last job. We've just got to put a helic coil in the back hole of that valve cover. Should be pretty simple. He just, again, didn't feel comfortable doing it, but shouldn't be a big deal. Then we'll do that other valve cover. Try and just do these as fast as possible without breaking anything, and then call it a day, because it's about 6 o'clock now, I think. Let's see. 6:45. Yeah, so it's about 6:45, so time to wrap up the day. I'm starting to get a little hungry. Okay, so we'll get over there. I'm just going to throw this camera under the hood of that. Probably not too much narration. I'm starting to get tired, so we'll just get over there and get it done. All right, here we are. It's the end of the day. Truck's a mess. Let's see what time it is. 8 o'clock. So that's going to be it for today. About 11 hours, maybe 10, somewhere around there. Pretty tired, pretty hot. I just got to the point on this last draw where I started just like mind out of it. We did get it all done. It's good to go. I don't know if I even finished off the video. That's how tired I got. So this is the Roadside Rescue YouTube channel. This is a day in the life of a mobile mechanic. Long, hot, but pretty fun. So pretty good money today. And pretty much every day, as long as nothing weird happens, can be like this. So it depends on how many jobs I want to take on. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments down below. I'll try and answer as many as possible. If there's anything that you want to know about that I didn't address, just ask me a question. Consider subscribing if you like the video. Thanks for watching. This is the Roadside Rescue YouTube channel. We'll see you on the next one.